Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We're ready to get started. I want to thank you all for coming this evening. My name is Bob Camardo. I'm the Curbstone president. This is Jeannie Tassone, our vice president. And it is my honor to introduce to you the 2024 Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame class. First up, Ron Sprolo, escorted by Frank Frattaroli. Next is Terry O'Halloran, escorted by Carlo Corden. Next up, Kelly Pavlik, escorted by Samantha Pavlik. Next up, Brett Powell, escorted by Russ Hake. Accepting for Sean Durkin is Joe Durkin, escorted by Matt Giambattista. Jill Harmon, escorted by Kelly McDevitt. Next up, Dan Yeagley, escorted by DJ Yoakley. Next is Bill Metzinger, escorted by Joe Metzinger. Next is Kenny Linden, escorted by John Linden. Next up is Bob Lorica, escorted by Pat Giuliano. Next is Kenneth Kimmer, escorted by Patricia Shuley. And finally, we have Cheryl Weaver, escorted by Irv Weaver. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame inductees.
Congratulations again, inductees. At this time, you can have a seat. And we'd like to welcome everyone to the 55th Annual Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame ceremony. We hope you have a great evening tonight. We got 12 good inductees. We got a great keynote speaker. But we'd like to start the program off with prayer. I'm going to call Pastor Dave Watkins up for the invocation.
Let's bow together, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thanking you so much for this organization, its leadership. We thank you for the way you've blessed our valley with incredible athletics, leaders, coaches, administrators. Lord, we thank you for these inductees tonight. We just pray that you would guide, bless, and be with us throughout this program. We ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Watkins. At this time, if you're able to stand, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the national anthem. Flags are up front here. Together, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. And once again, welcome to the 55th Annual Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. We are sponsored by Briarfield Healthcare, Ed and Diane Reese. Ed, we appreciate your sponsorship. For some of you who are new to the Curbstone Coaches, we're not coaches. We are just sports enthusiasts that get together every Monday from September through May. We eat at Avion Banquet Center on Western Reserve Road, all-you-can-eat buffet. We usually arrive about 11:45, and we're out of there between 1 and 1:15. So if anyone, ladies included, also we have several ladies and they have a good time. If anyone would like to come, we hope you can join us, especially you retirees. You have nothing to do, come join us for an hour and a half. I would like to address my inductees right now, and I promised them I had some stuff in front of them. If you take your time, inductees, not only we're not acknowledging you for your accomplishments with us tonight, but government as well. The first proclamation on top is from the Mahoning County. Gene, you got one too, okay? I would like to thank Dave, Anthony, and Carol for that. There's the one below that. There's the one from the state of Ohio. And I thank Senator Rowley's office for those. Thank you very much. And the next one you have are the federal ones. And those are from J.D. Vance's office, to all of you, recognizing your accomplishments. And on the bottom, you will find a little baggie that you can transport your plaque that you'll be getting later on. You can carry it in there. You can keep it with your portfolio. Want to let all the inductees know that Shake Hill Productions, she'll be making DVDs for the program tonight. As soon as they're ready in a couple of weeks, I'll get them out to all of you. I have some thanks I want to do. I want to thank Patty Shuley, smallest girl in the place tonight with the biggest fist. Thank her for doing the tickets. I don't know how she does it, but she did a great job. And I would like to thank Joyce Frateroli. She's the chair of our ads committee. Her and her committee did a great job. With that said, I'd like to call Bob Camardo to the front, please, our president.
I knew I wouldn't get applause a second time. Last year, we did a special presentation to President Jim Tressel from YSU, and it went over so well, we decided to do a special presentation again. So I'm going to call somebody up here. The plaque reads, "For your contributions to the Mahoning Valley and your continual support of the Curbstone Coaches, please welcome our corporate sponsor, Mr. Ed Reese." I know that Ed's not a big fan of fanfare and speaking and stuff, and I was talking to him earlier, and if I'd have told him we were doing this, he would have left already, so. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, President Camardo. Thank you. Ed, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Let's get the program going on here. I'm going to introduce the Master of Ceremony tonight. And this gentleman is certainly no stranger to the Mahoning Valley. He was born and raised in nearby Newcastle. and graduated from Slippery Rock University with a degree in communications. He came to work at WYTV Channel 33 in 1989 and served as a sports director for 20 years. In 2008, he started at the United Way of Youngstown, where today he is the president and chief professional officer of the United Way of Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley. You may recognize him from Saturdays in the fall on Radio 570 WKBN as the voice of Youngstown State University football for the past 36 years. Let's give a warm Curbstone welcome for Bob Hannon.
Well, thanks, Tom. Good to be back. Missed a couple years. Was sidelined and wasn't able to make it. I know Dana Bawley's filled in, and everybody kept telling me what a great job Dana did. I was nervous I wasn't going to get my job back. But Dana, good to see you, and I'm sure you did an outstanding job, and we really appreciate all that you do. So Bob Camardo, who gave the presentation to Ed Reese, I've known him 30 years. First time I've seen him in a suit and tie, and he looked okay. Now, the tie red, the penguin red certainly worked, but Bob, good to see you dressed up for a change. And just to echo the sentiments of Ed Reese, on one hand, you can list the people in this valley that we all go to for giving, supporting, and in my position, philanthropic giving, and certainly Ed's on that list. He always steps up, always said yes. We appreciate you, Ed, and also appreciate how you do it in a very low-key manner and really don't want any fanfare. So it's certainly good to have you here and supporting Curbstone Coaches. So being back here tonight, an opportunity to have a great guest. You know, one of our past speakers, John Hirschbeck, a world-class baseball umpire, Hall of Fame caliber, lives right here in the Mahoning Valley. You know, John's amazing, does a lot of giving through his foundation, and tonight we have an equally impressive when it comes to football in Gene Steratore. One of the best NFL officials of all time, worked the NFL from 2003 to 2018, and during that time, he also did Division I basketball. So think about juggling that schedule. He was only one of 2 active men to do at that level, Division I basketball, and also worked the NFL. Worked his first NFL playoff game in 2009, first of 2 NFC championship games in 2012. And the pinnacle of his career, selected as the referee for the Super Bowl game, February 4th, 2018. Terrific game where the Eagles upset the Patriots 41-33. That would be his last game. One of the more memorable games was 2017, Dallas and then the Oakland Raiders, where Gene used an index card to assist on whether Dallas made a first down. Cowboys got the first down, went on to win the game 20-17. Upon his retirement, hired by CBS as a rules analyst for NFL, college football, and college basketball. And Gene, I think what you do so very well, you do it in such a clear, concise, and simple manner. And that was more important this year than any other year, because we had a whole new generation of football fans because of this entertainer named Taylor. We had a lot of young girls and women watching football, and you do it so well. And what I like best, being a Steeler fan, I love how you give it to Tony Romo. Anybody associated with the Cowboys, you stick it to them pretty good. So let's give a big Youngstown, Mahoning Valley welcome to Gene Steratore, everybody.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mr. President, Tom, Greg, for inviting me to this wonderful event. I do have to start by saying, although I have been retired for 5 years, it still gives me a little discomfort to hear my name and then applause after that. It's just not something that comes naturally to me. So for any of you this evening that feel like you just want to blurt out something as I speak, please leave my mother alone, my sisters, my lovely wife Lisa. Other than that, have at it, do what you need to do. I'll feel more comfortable. I'm also a little nervous because I've never been this close to 6 coaches at the same time either. So I kind of like the fact that their backs are to me right now. But in all seriousness, it's really, really an honor to be part of these types of events. And there'll be some lightheartedness here in the few minutes that I speak, but then I think there's something to be said that we take from this that really has some gravity to it. And let's be really honest about this. These 12 inductees, whether they did this for their primary living or whether for the most part they did it because it was their passion, at some point in their journey, they fell in love with sports, and not just the game. They fell in love with what defines you to be an individual that enjoys the sport experience, and what does that mean? And I can speak to that a little intimately. For the 40 years that I officiated, it had to mean something more than the game, the interaction, and the check at the end of the game, in order for it to be something that took you away from your family for 30 to 40% of the years. So there is some depth to this. And I think truly when you attain the status that these individuals have attained, naturally, look, to get into a Hall of Fame, you know, to be good, you're around the collective, right? And you're successful. And that's either in your local community or whatever the layout of the land is, you were successful. Now you take yourself to a different place and you say, okay, let's evaluate these individuals based on this 1 or 2% of the real successful individuals that aspire to do or follow this passion for their journey. And then within that very small percentage, you have most of those people that live at that level. They really share all the characteristics that a Hall of Fame person would carry, right? They're amazing athletes, they're great leaders, teachers, trainers, just devoted to a place where they probably had to battle the obsessive nature of their behavior and try to square that a little bit. But then within that space of all of those people that live there, then there's another separating factor even from that point. And quite frankly, in my humble opinion, what makes Hall of Fame people is naturally their ability and what they did. But the truth of it is, and this is what makes this so special for me personally, they're Hall of Famers for the 400 people that are here tonight to celebrate their induction. And I think that needs to be said on the front end of this. Because when you really look at this, and as has been mentioned and Bob mentioned, you know, yes, I retired. And in the officiating world, chronologically, quite honestly, at 55, it's pretty young to retire from officiating at the level I was. But I did realize something else, too. As you start to approach that portion of your career where there's more in your rearview mirror than there is in the windshield, and then you also are fortunate enough to be in positions or situations where very few are. I know when I received my phone call from the NFL that said, congratulations, we've selected you to be the referee in Super Bowl 52. The instant of that surreal moment comes and goes. You take it in personally for a brief moment, and immediately you begin to reflect. Because you know personally, and nobody else knows, what you really did personally to attain the opportunity to be there. But when you really start to reflect, then it takes you back to this journey of your family, of your early coaches, of your friends. And it's a lifetime reflection. That's what we're all going to get to enjoy tonight. So as we get to sit back, and I as one of you, to listen to these amazing stories and what will be told this evening, let's never forget that the support structure of all Hall of Famers is equally in it sometimes, and they'll probably say this because most very successful people are very humble as well, that they could not have gotten to the place they were without that structure that took them through all of the pages of that book. So not just to these 12, but to all of you that in some way affected each of them. You all are Hall of Famers because these journeys don't happen with an individual's attributes. It comes with an awful lot more. So in the moment, you know, I did work 15 years in the NFL. I worked Division I college basketball for 27 years of my life, which was 70 to 75 games a year. For a portion of that, I was a single father of 3 children that lived with me full time as well, so we're juggling a lot of plates, and that was my avocation, not my job. And the best call I probably ever made in my life was about 20 years ago when a young lady that I had met introduced herself and asked me what team I coached. And I asked her to repeat it again. She goes, no, just, I heard you coach something. And I said, no, I'm actually an official. Oh, yeah, okay, what do they do? And we kind of went our ways, and we circled back 2 days later. This happened to be on a Tuesday around Thanksgiving. And I said, you know, I actually officiate referee this game that play on TV. It's an NFL football game, and went through a little bit of that description. And I said, you know, I've been doing this a while, so if you ever do sit and watch a game, I'm actually refereeing this game on Thursday this coming week. And I kind of get an idea every once in a while, although it doesn't happen often, that the camera might be on me. And I said, so just kind of a little high school fun that we'll have right now is when I feel like that red light might be near me, I'll pull on my ear real quick just to say hello. It'll be very passing, it may not happen, but if you happen to see it in a kind of a cute little high school way, I thought, at least, I'll tug my ear. So truthfully, I had the Patriots that Thursday. We had 19 penalties in the game, and before every penalty, I went, false start, offense number 67, 5-yard penalty, second down. Back to the TV. 38 tugs later, the game ended. Don't ask me who won. Don't really ask me who played. I only know it was the Patriots because I remember what city I was in. But I did wake up the next morning to Mike Pereira, another kind of well-known name here in our business, who happened to hire me, and I remember laying in the hotel at 7 a.m. in Boston. My phone rings, it's the NFL office, and the normal shtick of the next day after the games are the game played well to television, most important part. Didn't really have anything that jumped right off the screen at us. Naturally, the coaches will be upset, especially the loser, for a little while, but overall, great job. And hey, by the way, do you have any like dry skin or eczema problems or anything like that? I'm still half awake, half asleep. I kind of chuckled. I said, no, I really don't, Mike. I mean, every once in a while, you know, I use a little lotion. I mean, what the heck? I'm a Southern Italian. And he said, listen, stare at her. I don't know who she is. All right, let's just get to it. But you don't look like Carol Burnett. Quit tugging your ear. And I said, all right, gotcha, boss, you know. So we fast forward. We happened to be in Buffalo, and Lisa's late father had family in Toronto, and Steelers were playing the Bills the following year, so we drove to Toronto, had Lisa and her dad with me, and Mike's at the game because we're going to go do something with the CFL that day. The elevator opens in the hotel, and naturally, as a gentleman, Lisa precedes me out of the elevator right to Mike Pereira, who's never laid eyes on her yet. A hug like they've known each other for 20 years, and he's got his head on her shoulders looking at me going, I would have tugged my ear too. And I said, well, at least I'm making some decent calls off the field or court, you know, and it went really well. So we did kind of do away with that until the first penalty of Super Bowl 52, and again in somewhat of a reflective mode. The first false start of that game was an ear tug, a smirk, like the index card kind of smile, and off we went to just play another football game, right? And so, you know, when you look back, as I know I look back, and I know all of these inductees have tremendous stories and amazing journeys. 6 coaches on this dais tonight, and when you really think about this, and really for the years and years and years that I have been involved directly from this since birth. My father refereed major college football and basketball for 30 years. In order to appreciate this business, this sporting event, this passion, no matter what position you happen to be as an active participant in those events, you can't be good unless you empathetically understand everyone else's position in those events through those years. You can't ever personalize the intensity and the biased nature from an officiating standpoint that may come about through this contest just because of what's vested. And in order to appreciate the event, you must also, as a fan or participant, appreciate and respect what each of the individuals do in this event, and based on their titles, they're unique. All the way from the announcers, to the water person, to the coaches, who take individuals and teach them lessons of life that are the bridges that sporting events have allowed these individuals to bridge and intertwine into the way that they are fabricated as human beings. That's what I learned from sports. So when I would see a coach who had invested the countless hours and days to the game that I was about to walk into, if I didn't walk onto that court understanding that this court that I'm about to officiate on for the next hour and a half is truly that head coach's office. That's where he or she lived for 60 hours a week, prepped 72 hours between games, and probably focused on the game for 50 of those hours in the 72 that were available. And here I came from nowhere on evaluation day and walked onto his or her office as they were being evaluated, and was going to decide to move the pencil sharpener and a telephone on their desk wherever I wanted. So to understand that and appreciate what you were doing doesn't mean that you were placating, but you needed to be aware. And awareness jumped off the screen at me as I aged, not just in sports, but in my life. Empathy jumped off the screen at me as I continued to navigate this space, and quite frankly, in this unfortunate time that we're in, and in some ways, with the vitriol and the toxic nature and aggressive nature that we have become a little more accustomed to, that we should check ourselves down for right now, quite honestly. I had to understand that I needed to manipulate that space as an official. And then you have players, right, who are they're juggling multiple plates. They're trying to get playing time, the pressures of that, the physical sacrifice, the way that they lived, the way they juggled multitasking, the way they dealt with their relationships, the way they ate, they slept, they worked out, the level of focus, the level of concentration, the emotion, and all of these unbelievable characteristics that culminate into this contest, that now you're going to be asked to be perfect when you know it's not possible, because we're imperfect. But you're going to have to be as perfect as you can and navigate all of those emotions and all of that, and keep your awareness level at a level that, quite honestly, you can't live on 24 hours a day, because it would exhaust you to a point that you wouldn't be able to focus on anything else. So you had to appreciate what the players were going through. What were the coaches going through? How do all of these pieces come in? And not only that, how much appreciation you would have for that type of work. So even when emotion got the better of somebody in a moment, when you may have been 100% right, but weren't treated as such, what's the response? Is it to be confrontational? Is it to placate and be passive? Or is it to seek something potentially that you may have in common, even in that moment? And true officiating, the sporting event, is not calling plays. Officiating is managing all of these things that I'm listing to you. So as a guy or gal who could give you a tee or tell you to sit down or throw you out, I know I'm 100% right on this play. This individual's biased and acting out of sheer emotion, and I'm going to seek something that we have in common in this moment, at this time, to be transparent, honest, humble, and continue to move forward. And what was that one common element that, regardless of what everybody that's here that's getting this award this evening shares, and quite frankly, what I share? And it was the game. It was the integrity of the game, because the game transcended everything else. One thing all of us were held accountable to was the contest itself. The journey, the lessons, the training And all of the experiences were unique based on the position that you were. 2 of these 12 individuals played sports that they competed against themselves for the most part. When you're a bowler, when you're a boxer, yes, you have a competitor, but it's an individual sport. So the challenge, more than likely, I'm assuming in those cases, in those of us that pretend we can golf, understand that. Why is it the greatest game? Because you're challenging yourself. So that aspect and characteristic that carries those individuals that sought and succeeded and excelled in individual sports carries its own level of appreciation. And all of us, team sport or not, official, coach, announcer, doesn't matter. We all have the personal challenges as well. In life, it's very easy to point the finger at your opponent. It's very easy to cherry pick a difference in an argument that you're right on, but use it to deflect from the truth of the piece that you aren't right on. Sports allows us all of these types of interactions in a completely non-scripted environment where intensity is at its highest, where emotions swing at their most highest place, and where nothing is scripted. I have never written a word down, and I have done thousands of speeches. It would be impossible for me to write words down to come into this room because I don't know what kind of room I'm going to talk to. But it takes about 5 minutes if your level of awareness in your real life is equal or as close to as it could be when you were at game day. And when we walked through that front door and hugged 4 or 5 people that we never met before and turned the corner and walked into this room, the energy was extremely palpable. The reasons why you're all here is extremely obvious. And the energy that is felt here through the appreciation of people that strive to excel in the passion that they had is very palpable and easy to see. So allow that to be part of what you talk about, and don't worry about moving from one subject to another, because it's more organic and more special when it just comes out this way. It's why at CBS they have a rap card for me. Because when they bring Gene in, he gets about 13 seconds before the next snap, and as we can already tell, I'm not very short of words, so inevitably in my ear I hear the producer say, let's bring Gene in, let's open him up, let's bring in Gino, what do you think? As soon as I say 2 words, my producer has a card that says, wrap it up, because they need to get out before the next snap occurs. And Lisa is my wrap-up card, and she won't carry it and put the card up, but I asked her just to give me a nice little nod tonight, and we'll put a bow on this one as well. And then you take a look at something else here, which is unique, I think. At least for me, I know it is. And that's where we are geographically. This is Eastern Ohio, man. It's Western Pennsylvania. It's blue-collar country. When we were born and raised in these areas, nobody told you what you wanted to hear, but everybody told you what you needed to hear. You never left a conversation in these areas and get in the car and go, honey, I wonder what so-and-so was thinking. Well, shit, if you weren't paying attention, he told you exactly what he was thinking. That's how we were born and raised. We didn't need to sign contracts. We shook your hand and looked you in the eye. That's this area. That's what makes these areas amazing areas as you travel the country, and for me, the world, to know that, yeah, it's always special in the hometown, and yes, your stories are unique, but it's like that in every town. That's a lie. Because I've been to all those towns, and I've been to 30 countries. It's unique to be in a place where people are as passionate about how they cut their grass as they are about who wins Friday Night Lights. It's hard in this area when you sell toilet paper and paper towels for a living to go out and make cold calls on a Monday in Pittsburgh if the Steelers lose. And for those of you that live in this area directly, you have your own dilemma. Do I cross the state line and go black and gold? Or do I wander 40 miles west and just keep that Cleveland Brown thing going on? But the passion is the same. And our people are the same. And it makes us, as far as I'm concerned, the type of people that I am thankful to the good Lord that my folks, when they came over and went through that island and decided to go to Ambridge, Pennsylvania, and then down into Washington, never left it. Because that's who we all are. And it makes us a very special piece of the puzzle that is our country, our life, and our communities. And for those that are in this room that are young, that spend more time talking to somebody thousands of miles away in the confines of your room in the face of an iPad or phone, put the phones down. Start looking at the people that you are saying things to. And when you have a difference with those people, make sure they're in proximity, so if you say something hurtful to them, that you have to deal with the consequences of seeing another human being who you really hurt for what you said. There's a terrible shortage in officiating around this country. And the reason there's a shortage is not because people aren't available. It's because people don't want to put themselves in these environments where this toxic vitriol that is created in this non-social media platform that everybody thinks is the greatest tool in the world has allowed us to say toxic things and not be responsible to the hurt that they've created. And now those toxic behaviors are coming out and doing it physically in front of people. So it's not just for a thumb up or a like. Now I'm going to cross the bridge and do it in the room and test and see what happens. Sporting events are the easiest place to test this outside of our political environment. We allow politicians to do it because it's part of the campaign. We allow fans to do it because they're passionate, and that's my grandson or granddaughter playing, and I just drove 300 miles, and I only see one game, and I don't like you, and that's a block whether you say it's a charge or not, and by God, I paid my $5, so I'm going to scream at you. Because you all rationalized it. And quite honestly, I enjoyed the booze. Now, my psychiatrist and I have a nice relationship. And he tells me I don't have to keep thinking that it's okay to be booed every time I voice my opinion, but I kind of enjoy it. It was a very liberating feeling to know that if I were refereeing a game that was equally divided in this room right now, 210 people would hate me for every decision I made, and 210 people would just think it was okay because it benefited them. And it was easy. But what liberation to know that whatever I did, half of the room would be pissed, and the other half would just be okay. So guess what? Do what you think's right. The heck with everybody else. But I do think there's a check, and I do think it's these individuals that are honorees tonight that through whatever they've done individually and how many people they have touched and how many child's lives they have helped form, and all of those amazing characteristics and virtues of life that were taught through sporting events or attained through their success needs to be bridged so that when the real conversations of life are taking place, that those same characteristics and virtues that made you a great sports person make you an even better person in life. Sporting events are great. Your individual successes are wonderful. They're to be celebrated. But it's never full circle until you give back. Such is life. We can be great people. We can give great examples. But if we don't give back, we did it selfishly in some ways. I will guarantee you, I don't know any of these individuals personally. But I'd bet my bottom dollar that every one of these individuals has amazing stories about every one of those characteristics I just mentioned. And quite frankly, That's why they're Hall of Fame people. So tonight, let's celebrate. We'll tug on our ear. We'll have some laughs. We miss one of these inductees tonight because he was taken early in his life. But the energy and the spirit of that individual and every individual that's in this room, regardless of why you're here, is extremely important. Because in this game of life, to be in the Hall of Fame means that you did what you were supposed to do and you were empathetic to the person next to you. And when you left this world, you did everything in your power to make it a better place when the good Lord decided you were finished. So as we navigate the 4 quarters, the 9 innings, the 10 frames, the 12 rounds, or whatever sport it is that we're going to sit here and listen to, let's just make sure that when the games are finished and we change our jerseys because we had differing colors, that we come together again as the same team that might have differences, but enjoys the fact that we have one common thing in life. And in that case, in the life of a game of life, it isn't the game that we're held accountable to. It's our conscience, it's our soul, and it's what we give back to this thing that was given to us when we were brought to this earth. So I will sit back now and enjoy. I thank you all for the time. I appreciate everything that you have done to make me welcome here and my wife this evening. I am really looking forward to the next couple hours, and let's give one big round of applause to every one of these inductees and their families.
Thank you. Well done. Good. Well done.
Well, we're certainly off to a good start. A couple things before we introduce the inductees and get rolling. In your program booklet is the full biography. For sake of time and appreciation of everybody's time here tonight, I'm going to edit the bios, which wasn't easy. I get the pleasure of reading the accomplishments. There's a person I want to thank who did all the research, or at least much of the research. He's the former sports information director at Youngstown State. He's way over here to the left. How about a round of applause for Greg Golis? Greg, great job again. We'll get started with our first inductee, and we are off to a good start. Jill Herman for softball. When speaking of a trailblazer in sports, you need look no further than our first inductee, a 1975 graduate of Canfield High School, earning 4 letters in basketball, where she was a 4-year starter. Despite the school not having a girls' tennis team in the 70s, she played number 2 on the boys' team, and upon graduation, earned a tennis scholarship to Colorado. There, she became a basketball walk-on. She proceeded to earn 2 letters for the Buffaloes, but decided to return home and go to Youngstown State. This time, she focused on the diamond. She became one of the Penguins' all-time best pitchers. Accomplishment leading YSU to 3 consecutive Ohio Association Intercollegiate Women's State Softball crowns, a 38-11 record. In slow pitch softball, posting a 24-5 overall mark. Team going 38-11 during her 3 seasons at YSU. In her final season, Jill, with the Penguins in fast pitch, had a 14-6 record, but a .092 earned run average in 79 2/3 innings pitching. It is also the best in a career despite playing 1 season at Youngstown State. So she goes in tonight under softball. She could go in under golf. She's one of the best golfers in the Valley. So we're off to a great start. Not only one of the best women athletes ever to come out of the Mahoning Valley, one of the best athletes. She's a Canfield Cardinal. Let's welcome Jill Harmon.
This game where we're facing. There. Good. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not short, though. I'm average. Okay. How many times can I say thank you in 2 minutes? Thank you, Thomas Miller. the Curbstone Committee, and my sponsor and dear friend, Dr. Raymond Duffett. Thank you to the greatest, most supportive and loving family that you can imagine. Kelly, Todd, Sherry, I love you guys. Thank you to the many coaches and teammates that have made me the person that I am. 3 of my faves, Jackie, Terry, and Tink, are here tonight. Thank you for the Canfield Hall of Fame Committee for your kind support. We have so much in common. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, well deserved. When I was about 7 or 8, my mom would say to us 4 children, go out and play. I love that word, play. Go play at Kirkmere Playground, baseball, football, basketball, ice skating, sled riding. Then to Canfield in 7th grade, track, flag football, hoops in the driveway till dark. I remember my dad insisting the summer before my freshman year that it was only to dribble the basketball left-handed for the entire summer. What? It made me an ambidextrous point guard. Thank you, Dad. High school in the swim club, basketball, track, swimming, boys tennis team. College was 1975, the first year that college scholarships were awarded to women athletes. My choice was the University of Colorado. If I could make the team in either tennis or basketball, I could earn a scholarship. I was fortunate enough to make both teams. Another great word, team. I returned to Ohio to be with my family and tried out for the YSU softball team. I finished my education and was fortunate to pitch for one of the most accomplished teams in YSU history. The defense that played behind me was my success. I've been blessed through my entire life with coaches, teammates, and family that have propelled me to the accolades that I now cherish. Canfield Hall of Fame, YSU Hall of Fame, and now Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame. Another great word, blessed. The most valuable benefit of a lifetime of athletics is how you transfer all of these lessons into the rest of your world. I owned a printing company for 24 years. My employees became my teammates, and my customers became the coaches that we had to impress to succeed. Thank you, and remember, play, team, blessed. Thank you.
Joe, I think we have a 15-yard personal foul on Gene just now, okay? Pass interference, she says.
Still pretty strong.
Up next is our posthumous inductee, Sean Durkin, basketball, baseball, and coach. Sean was a standout athlete at his alma mater, Ursuline High School. 1988 Ursuline High School grad, where he was a key member and contributor to the Fighting Irish 1988 OHSAA State Championship baseball team. In addition to playing baseball for the Irish, he earned 3 letters as a member of their basketball team as well. He served as head coach of the Fighting Irish baseball team from 1998 to 2015 and posted a .306 and 138 record. He led Ursuline to the 2000 OHSAA Division III State Championship, guiding the team to 2 state runner-up finishes, 6 regional titles, and 11 district championships. Not to be outdone, incredibly as well, what he did with the baseball team, he guided the girls' basketball team as well. There, winning the Division III OHSAA Championship in 2004. His 2006 squad finished as state runner-up. That year, he was named Associated Press Coach of the Year. He also guided the team to 2 regional championships. In 383 hoop games, he was .252 and 131, a combined record in all sports, .558 and .269. This past winter, Sean earned induction into the Ohio High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. To win a state championship takes a lot of work, but to win them in 2 different sports, that's in sort of a league of your own. Accepting is his father, Joe Durkin.
On behalf of Sean and his family, especially his two children, Annie and Patrick, I would like to thank the Curbstone Coaches for this honor. Sean was well aware of the great coaches and athletes who preceded him in winning this honor. Growing up on the west side of Youngstown, Sean was very fortunate to have played for legendary coaches who influenced him into following in their footsteps. Red Saunders at St. Brendan, Matt Giambattista at Urson were two of them. I would like to thank Urson High School for giving Sean the opportunity to achieve his goals in coaching as well as academic career. He was always grateful to Sister Regina Rogers for her guidance in his teaching career, which he really enjoyed. Once again, I would like to thank the Curbstone Coaches and everyone here in attendance. Thank you.
Up next is Brett Powell for wrestling and as a coach. This year's wrestling inductee can be honored as both a player and coach in both wrestling and football. But his coaching exploits in wrestling that he has become the second to be honored. The other wrestling honoree was Greg Cooper in 2012. A 1978 graduate of West Branch High School, he was a 3-year letter winner in All-Ohio selection in football his senior season. He placed 6th at the state in wrestling in the heavyweight division, also during his senior year. Upon graduation, Brett earned a full scholarship to YSU, earning 3 letters while playing football there and wrestling. He served as Austintown Fitch's wrestling coach beginning in 1984, lasting to 2015. His glowing record includes 261 dual meet wins, ranking 30th all-time in Ohio history. In all, he was the architect of 11 Eastern Ohio Wrestling League championships, 27 winning seasons, 55 state qualifiers, 19 state placers, and 5 state champions. In addition, national champion, 2 high school All-Americans, his program produced 2 state champion runner-ups. Brett was named the Ohio Wrestling Coach of the Year in 1998, and he still looks like he'd go out on that mat and win a few. Let's welcome Brett Powell to the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, sir. We'll take one quick picture of that gentleman there.
Okay.
Thank you. Put this on.
I'd just like to thank the people that set this dinner up tonight. The recognition is unbelievable. The research that these guys did was phenomenal. Some of the other people I'd like to thank is my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers. They're all here one way or the other. I had 2 brothers growing up. But all 3 of us were heavyweights. I wanted to apologize to my mom and tell her that we're going to get that carpet replaced in the front room one of these days. We wore a lot out on their furniture and their carpet over the years having wrestling matches in that living room. So that being said, the people that really have helped me through this time, you know, my immediate family, my wife Lisa, my boys, they're most important to me of everybody. And I want to thank the people that helped me get up here. And it's endless. If you look at the bios of all these people, we could all stand up here for long amounts of time. But you don't get here by yourself, ever. And you have to appreciate the moment when it happens, and you have to appreciate the people that helped you get here. And I'm thanking all those people now. Lastly, I was fortunate enough to be able to coach in a town that's one of the toughest in the country, and anybody can challenge us on that that wants to. But this is a tough place with tough people. And I was very fortunate to have tough kids that came every day and they worked hard. And I was very fortunate to have great coaches. And you can't ask for more than that. if you're in a position that I'm in. And I'd like to thank everybody for tonight. Thank you.
Up next, under boxing, Kelly Pavlik. Youngstown in the Mahoning Valley has always been known to be a boxing and football community. Although Kelly is the lone boxer in this year's class, he is the 61st boxer to be inducted into Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame. Kelly won the National Junior Golden Gloves Amateur Championship in 1999 at the 147-pound limit, also became the U.S. National Under-19 Amateur Champion. The Ghost, as he is known, a 2000 graduate of Lowellville High School. He took the boxing world by storm, winning his first 26 fights before stepping up in competition. So when you look at the short list of the greatest accomplishments in Youngstown sports history, we all have our opinion. But somewhere on that list is September 29, 2007, when he became the new middleweight champion of the world in Atlantic City. Kelly was going up against Jermaine Taylor, undefeated, skilled, brash, cocky, and he had a legendary trainer, Emmanuel Stewart. I was at that fight. A couple things stand out. A writer wrote that half of Youngstown was there. He was wrong. 3/4 of Youngstown was there. That made the casinos happy because Youngstown people like to gamble. Okay. Walking into that arena, it felt like it was the Covelli Center. 70% of the people were rooting for Kelly, 20% were there to see a good fight, and 10% for Taylor. As the fight unfolded, those 20% became Kelly fans. Kelly was in trouble in the second round. He was knocked down and on the ropes. Looked like the fight may end early. And Jermaine Taylor, who went into the fight, gave off the vibe that Kelly was overrated. Looked like it might be over. Kelly survived, and going into the 7th round, Taylor led on every card. But Kelly knocked out Jermaine Taylor in the 7th round. And that was one of the great moments in Youngstown sports history. In all, Kelly Pavlik won 40 fights. And the last thing I want to say about Kelly Pavlik, we would cover locally, and I know Dana would agree, all these big fights. And Bob Arum and all the promoters, after Kelly would win, wanted to take him off to the national media. Kelly's told all those, wait, I got to take care of the local guys, because they knew my name when none of you knew who I was. One of the great champions of all time in a boxing-rich community. Let's welcome the ghost of the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, Kelly Pavlik.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank Coaches Curbstone for having me and everybody on the committee. I want to thank my family for being here, my wife and my kids and my father and in-laws and all my friends that have showed up. It's an honor to be here. It was a heck of a ride, and it was fun, and coming up to ranks was a long road, and as Bob mentioned, you know, the world title fight was a hard one. The biggest thing of getting back up in that fight was how hard I worked for it, you know, all the years put in from the amateurs to the pros, and that one opportunity that you finally do get after 7 years of being in the sport and trying to just get on TV, let alone a world title fight, was I wasn't going to go out that way. You know, I wasn't going to get knocked out like this in the 2nd round. And unlike what Bob said, which I was down on the scorecards, but I don't know how, because I felt like I won most of those rounds. So, you know, we can all go back and watch that fight. I think you would all agree. But I did, and it was tough, you know, and it came back, and I believe it was the Youngstown, you know, strong, the Steel City. It's that mentality here when you grow up here that you don't give up, you keep on fighting. And like I said, you know, work too damn hard to get to that point, to go out like that. So it was a heck of a run. You know, we've won many fights after that, beat many world champions, and again, it's just an honor to be here, and this is really nice. Thank you so much.
I can't remember which fight it was. One of his big wins, he and his dad, they left the check in the hotel and started heading back to Youngstown. There was like a $500,000 check sitting in the hotel. Kelly had to turn around and go get it. I think he blamed his dad on that one. Up next, Terry O'Halloran, swimming and diving coach. This year's lone swimming and diving honoree is a graduate of Pittsburgh North Hills High School in 1969. Gains induction into Curbstone Coaches, one of the most respected scholastic swimming coaches in the state. 54 years guiding and grooming both existing and incoming talent. The driving force behind the creation of the Boardman Spartan boys and girls swimming and diving teams came to fruition in 1985 when he was the head coach for 33 years before his retirement in 2018. He guided his teams to 8 All-American Conference championships and coached 88 state qualifiers. He outmolded 4 individuals into state champions, with 3 of those titles won by his son Tyler. Among his many notable accomplishments, Terry was coaching 74 athletes selected to Academic All-American, while 18 of his swimmers earned All-American as well. Among his honors and tributes that he received was selected Northeast Ohio Coach of the Year Conference on 6 different occasions, Northeast Ohio District Coach of the Year 3 different times as well. And finally, in 2005-2006, he was awarded the OHSAA Sportsmanship, Ethics, and Integrity Award, and in 2018 selected the OHSAA Division I Boys Swimming Coach of the Year. Let's welcome Terry O'Halloran.
Put this back on the table as soon as we finish that shot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Before I start, there's really one question I want to ask Gene. Have you ever officiated a swimming meet?
No, but I'm available.
Well, I'm going to forewarn you that if you do make some bad calls and you're too close to the edge of the pools, you might accidentally get bumped in. I've never seen it happen, but it could. I'm warning you. I had the pleasure of being here tonight, but sitting next to Ron Strollo, without Ron, we wouldn't be here as a high school team. Ron, as the athletic director and also the YSU, lets us use one of the finest swimming facilities in the state for us to practice in over those years. And without the pool, no swim team, without a doubt. I'm honored and very excited to be here, and thanks to the Curbstone coaches, and congratulations to all the inductees. Most people, recognize their families, and I'm going to do the same very quickly. We wouldn't be here, none of us would be here without our families. My wife Jan, my 3 wonderful sons, Ryan, Tyler, and Connor, and also Connor's wife Jessica is here tonight. My neighbor, attorney Bob Fulton, was one of the individuals involved with starting the team in '85, and he's the one that gave a very passionate speech to the Board of Education and got us on the board for having to be a varsity sport. And my life changed drastically at that point. We started out a team with 70 swimmers and 1 coach, and we had to figure out the first day just how to get them back and forth to practice, but down to YSU. But that all worked out, and we eventually took some of the bugs out of it. Coaching, you have to have really support on your coaching staff, and recognize my sponsor tonight, Carlo Corden, his wife Jamie, Greg McAtee, Chad D'Angelo, and CJ Flatley also coached along with quite a few others. Our best friends from Pittsburgh, which has been mentioned quite often tonight. Bill and Ellen Wright stopped up here too, so thanks for coming. Any successful high school program or anything around coaching, and I follow all sorts of sports, you have to have some basic characteristics. And one of them is develop a team culture. What we do in Boardman is that we stress excellence not only in the pool. We expect it, and we demand that our swimmers do the same out of the pool, and that's why we had so many academic All-Americans. We also, and as Bob had mentioned, you know, we've had our titles, we've had our successes, and that's already been mentioned. But one of the things he didn't mention is on an annual basis, it was important for our team in terms of bonding and caring for each other to give back to this wonderful community. And at Christmas time each year, our team would break up into 3 teams and 3 separate teams, and they had to pick a community service project. And they had to work on a community service project and take things to Akron Children's Hospital, some of the homeless shelters, and do those types of things. You know, great things happen when you do that, and what's interesting about that is that bonds the team together, and that takes them through their high school years with a lot of motivation, I guess, as part of it. Let me talk for just a second or two about what's unique about the sport of swimming. Number one, it's obviously a very grueling sport. It's the only sport that trains in a foreign environment. All the rest of the sports, you get to breathe whenever you want to. You can hear people. You go to a swim meet, the swimmers don't hear a damn thing. They're in the water, they're just submerged, they can't see necessarily where they're going. If their goggles fall off, they're swallowing water, they're aspirating water, and then they're performing and trying to get the fastest times ever. When you conquer a foreign environment on top of, you know, all the training that you're doing, I think that does things that enhance your mental abilities, not only your physical abilities and so on, but it gives you an inner confidence that you don't normally have from other sports. And I've participated in a lot of sports, but swimmers seem to come out with a little bit more of an edge. And as a result, they're leaders. We've had wonderful experiences with our swimmers going and being doctors, lawyers, you know, you name it. We've had a lot of things outside of the sports of swimming that we're very proud of today. I'm very passionate about my profession. I've been pretty much a lifelong swim coach since the age of 16. I also had a wonderful experience of being a 4th grade teacher, elementary school teacher. 9 and 10-year-olds are very excited about learning, and one of the things I enjoyed was having them love to learn at that age. And no matter what the day was, you come in and they were ready to go, and they were ready to have another great day. In conclusion, one thing that I would really like to see for the Mahoning Valley is we need more swimming facilities. Indoor, outdoor, it doesn't matter. And the reason we need these swimming facilities isn't just for competitive reasons. It's for overall personal health. It's also for, besides fitness, water safety. We have to teach all of our kids how to swim. And wouldn't it be nice if everybody could go to the beach or go to any type of swimming facility and feel safe and enjoy the water environment? Thank you very much, folks. This has been a pleasure.
Up next, Ron Strollo, contribution to sports. So I had a chance to talk to Jim Tressel on Friday. And he said, that's great, Ron's going in. He's certainly going in as an administrator and not a football player, correct? I said, well, contribution. But Ron was a standout football player at Austintown Fitch, and in all seriousness, YSU. 36 and 15 record with the Penguins in 51 games, captain and offensive player of the year on our 1991 team that won the national championship. In 2001, he exceeded the legendary Jim Tressel as executive director of athletics and has served that role for 23 years. Under his direction, YSU is now the second largest Division I athletic program in the state, 21 sports and more than 500 students. Under Ron's leadership, we've added 6 new sports. What has also been extremely impressive are the facilities. The construction of the $4 million indoor tennis facility. What we've done with the turf at Cafaro Field with the lights, a new $1 million parking and tailgate lot behind the Constantini Center that was finished in September of 2019, and the construction of the $3 million Constantini Multimedia Center that was completed in 2019 as well. Under facility enhancements, Bigley Center now is undergoing a renovation that's going to be terrific for next basketball season. We'll have a new seating and video board, digital media studio in Stambaugh Stadium, and golf simulators in Watts. Also, our 500-plus student athletes have a 3.44 cumulative grade point average in the 2023 spring semester. Certainly deserves a round of applause. Also, athletic directors many times are judged by the coaches they hire. Ron hired Coach Pelini, second year in the national title game. Coach Phillips, the program continues to ascend. We won a playoff game last year. We're going to be a perennial playoff team. Men's basketball, Ron hired Jared Calhoun. We wish him the best at Utah State, 7 great years. On the women's side, he hired Bob Bolden, John Barnes, and now a terrific coach in Melissa Jackson. One final note, and I kid Ron about his athletic accomplishments. Those of you who follow YSU football remember 2 great receptions in the modern era. 1991, first round of the playoffs, Villanova, we're losing late. Ray Isaac, 4th and 10 to Herb Williams. A couple plays later, the great Jeff Wilkins, who played in the NFL, kicks a field goal. We go on to win the national title. 2016, Eastern Washington, they had the great Cooper Cup. We upset them in the semifinals. Kevin Rader from Hunter Wells. But in 1991, we're scuffling at 4-3. We go to Georgia Southern. They had won like 1 million games in a row. That's just a little bit of an embellishment. We're leading 19-17 late. Ron gets a big reception on 3rd down, gets the 1st down. But he signs my checks for play-by-play. I don't want to call him slow, but he wasn't real fleet-footed. You'll appreciate this, Gene. It's the only time I remember while there was a play going on, we got to delay a game. Ron was so slow on that 1st down. Seriously, we converted 2 4th downs after Ron's catch. We win 19-17. We win 8 straight. We win our first national title by going back to Georgia Southern. He has done a terrific job as our director of athletics, and he had big shoes to fill in following one of Youngstown's all-time favorite sons, Jim Tressel. Let's welcome the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, Ron Strollo.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I feel like I've been in every other picture, so it's good. I just, really want to take a moment to thank the Curbstone Coaches. Obviously, they put this event on, and they've done such a great job of acknowledging all the great sports people that have come through here. But, they hold weekly meetings, which I know I'm sure they'll promote those here today. But it gives our student athletes and our coaches the opportunity to share their story. And I think it's a great experience for them. They also, every time I get a chance to go speak, it seems like they've always have a check for us to contribute towards the endowment. I'm not sure if we're getting a check today or not. So, but I look beside my name, and there's so many great faces here at the dais, and there's 2 people specifically, and Sean Durkin and Billy Metzinger, that had the patience to coach my son in baseball, and more patience than I have. And Sean Durkin was a coach for our daughter, at Ursuline in women's basketball, and I just would feel reluctant not to say that. Sports have done so much for me and our family. My greatest memories of my dad are him smoking a cigar outside the fence, watching my football practices at YSU. I remember driving to Notre Dame, watching football games with him, and still just the best memories I have with my mom are her volunteering at track meets and making brownies and stuff for our student athletes. And we just got back from a trip from Orlando to root on our women's golf program. And even down to our son played played basketball at YSU, and he's met his girlfriend of 8 years, I believe, who's become a daughter of ours, and and she played softball for us, and I still don't know what she's thinking, but she's still there. Rachel, our daughter, is someone we still haven't been able to convert over too much to the sports things, other than we got her started early in that. Professionally, it's allowed me to have a job for 28 years, and that comes to a surprise of a lot of people, but they've kept me employed for 28 years, and it's allowed both Nicole and I to really work at a place that we love so much, and hopefully, have an impact on a lot of young people, and that has had an impact on this community, and has brought a lot of pride to this community. There's a lot of people in this room that have made, Bob listed off a bunch of facilities and different enhancements of what we've been able to do for our student athletes and for this community as far as facilities go. And there's a lot of people in this room, and you know who you are, that have contributed to that. Youngstown's a unique space, because when I talk to our counterparts across the country and I tell them the facility enhancements we have and the things that we're doing here, they can't believe it. And it's not for anything that we've been able to do as an athletic department, but it's really the people in this community. And finally, my poor staff, I think we've been going straight every weekend since Meet the Team for football in August. This was the first weekend we actually didn't have an athletic event, and they all showed up here, and I appreciate, them taking the time. So if I can ask my staff, our staff, to please stand, don't be shy. I know you guys are in the back table, come on, please stand. I have the best staff in the world. I try to stay out of the way. You think that's a joke, but they know I just try to stay out of the way. So really appreciate the honor here, and go Penguins.
Should also mention Ron's wife, Nicole, is here. She ran track and cross country, so even though you're a Hall of Famer, you're at best the second best athlete in your family. So up next, and I found it interesting in Dan Yeagley's bio for football and coach, one of the comments was one of the nicest coaches. You don't hear that a lot about coaches, nicest. But it's true. So Dana can tell you, when we used to cover high school football, we'd go to 6, 7, 12 games on a Friday night, and I know how coaches are during a game. You stay away. They're locked in. You'd go to one of his games, hey Bob, how's it going? Where else you going tonight? What other games you covering? See any good games tonight? I mean, that just doesn't happen on a Friday night of high school football. So he found time and cared about people, but he also won. And when you look at his record, as a graduate of South Range High School in 1980, where he started in football for the Raiders, serving as team captain. Beginning in 1995 until 2022, served as the head football coach of the Raiders. Put together a program that was envious of just about every program in the state. In 28 years at South Range, 248 and 73. He led the program to the 2022 state championship, 3 regional championships, state semifinal appearances, as well 3 other times. A regional finalist on 10 occasions. In 49 playoff games, he was 31 and 18 with 13 league championships and 11 undefeated seasons. So Gene, you went out doing a Super Bowl game. Dan went out winning a state championship. Just a quality person, well deserving to be in the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, Dan Yeagley.
He's right up front there. Thank you. Thanks.
Well, good evening, everybody. First, I'd like to congratulate all the other honorees and what a special occasion this is. And I want to thank the Curbstone Coaches for this honor and putting this banquet together. Before I start thanking some other people, I'd also like to thank the handful of officials that I've had on the sidelines that are here, and what a blessing you guys have been to our program and to me, and what a joy it was, especially when you get into the playoffs and all of a sudden you see a Youngstown face step onto the field, even though you might be on the other side of the state, and what a relief that is, just knowing that there's a Youngstown connection there and how awesome that is. And also a handful of opposing coaches throughout the year, including Coach Phillips over there, and we've had some rumbles through our time, and we could tell a couple stories, Coach, but we won't, okay, like a walk home or something like that. So lots of fun. But again, I'd like to thank the Curbstone coaches for this honor, and I'd also like to especially thank DJ Yoakley for nominating me and being a host for me and my family and my friends, and especially, DJ and YSN has blessed so many athletes and so many teams in the area since he started up, and he's been especially a blessing to South Range, and especially a blessing to me throughout those years, and I want to thank him especially for that, and again for hosting us tonight. I'd like to I'm going to go through these thanks like everybody did, and because there's a bunch of them. I'd like to thank my wife Kelly, my son Luke, who's here tonight, and my mom and dad, my in-laws, my sister and brother-in-law, along with coaches and friends coming to share this special day with me. I'm here today because I've been blessed with great players. Listen to these other coaches and listen through to what they've done. They'll say it over and over again. They've been blessed with great players, and I'm one for sure. And even more blessed with great assistant coaches. It's not a one-person event. It's not a yearly thing. It's an ongoing process because I have great coaches that have been with me for a long, long time. And I've been blessed through those years. I'm using the word blessed, Coach. Using the word blessed because I have been. South Range allowed me to hire who I needed, and I was smart enough to get out of the way and let them coach. It's true, because you hire the right people, you hire them and let them do their job. And I have a group of coaches here tonight. I have Coach Allegretto, who was supposed to be here, is not here. He was my offensive coordinator for 28 years. David Rock, Bart Dockery, Tony Foster, Nico Mancuso, Matt Combs, Don Farron, who's with me at the beginning, and talk about him a little bit, are all here tonight, and a huge part of our success. And one of the reasons why we've been successful through those years is because they've been with me for a long time. You keep a staff together. You make a commitment. I made a commitment to South Range when we moved back in '92 to be an assistant coach for a couple of years, and I made a commitment to the program to stay there and work as long as I can, or as long as they'll have me. And I tell the kids all the time to make a commitment. They made a commitment, I made a commitment, my coaches made a commitment to the program to make the program as good as it can be. And it ends up being one of the best in the state thanks to them. I want to thank you, coaches. Coach Tressel once told me, listen and learn from as many coaches as possible. Well, I've had an opportunity to be an assistant for many great coaches. 8 years with Coach Cook down at Watkins Memorial when I first started learning how to coach. Played for Hall of Fame coach Robert McNay at South Range, and then was assistant under Rich McClellan, which was also an assistant with Mike Owen and Don Farron for my first years at South Range. And Don Farron, who's here tonight, was also one of the main people to get me hired as a coach, football coach at South Range. I'll be forever thankful for him. And he was also the AD and helped coach and did a little bit of everything, which is wonderful. But, these coaches taught me a little bit more than just about football, and that's what Coach Tressel was really getting at when he told me to watch and learn from other coaches. A great example is Coach Weaver. I sit there and look at what she's done, and I sit there and watch coaches, it doesn't matter what sport, and how they interact with their athletes, and learn from that. And that's what he was trying to get me to learn, is how important it is to learn how to treat people. And those coaches and all my assistant coaches have taught me that, how to treat people. Again, I want to thank my mom and dad for showing me how to work hard and do the things the right way, and the sacrifices they made so I could go to college. Went to Muskingum, was blessed to go there and met a lot of great connections while I was there, and I was able to pursue my teaching and coaching career, and for them being there every game. You know, coached for a long time, coached in a lot of games, and they were always there for me and supporting me. I also like to thank my wife, you know, for years of supporting me, putting up with me, putting up with the crazy schedule, the coaching hours, like we talked about, 60 hours a week. We're going to get that job. Just the crazy schedule, and always being by my side. And in turn, she was the one that ended up raising our two boys, Scott and Luke. While I was out coaching and playing around on the football field, she was there raising our boys, and I'll be forever thankful for her and all that she's done for our family. The saying is true: behind every successful coach, there's a caring, understanding, and loving wife. Thank you, Kelly, for all your support, and I've been really, really, truly blessed. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Up next, Bill Metzinger for baseball. Trying to do justice to his resume was difficult. Many accomplishments. One of 5 inductees in this year's class with a tie to the diamond. Graduated from Ursuline High School in 1988. 4-year letter winner for the Irish. 2-time team most valuable player. 2-time All-Still Valley. Helped Ursuline to the 1988 state championship. That year on the mound, he had an 8-2 record, overall Ursuline 29-5. He was also the pitcher in their state semifinal win. Bill graduated from Ursuline as the leader in career wins and strikeouts. From there on to the University of Cincinnati. 2-time team captain. As a senior, was named All-Great Midwest Conference. Upon his graduation, he led the Bearcat program in complete games. His over 101.2 innings pitched as a junior remains tied for 3rd best in a single season. His 8 wins as a senior tied for 3rd, while his 15 starts in 1991 remained 10th all-time. After graduation, Bill was drafted and spent time in the minor leagues with the Rockies, in all 42 appearances. He returned to the area, served as the baseball coach at Ursuline from 1998 to 2015, helping them to the 2000 OHSAA state championship. Under baseball, Bill Metzinger to the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame.
First of all, I want to thank my buddy and ex-teammate Kevin Stefko for nominating me to be in this, and the committee for voting me in. I really appreciate it. It's a big honor. As we spoke earlier about Sean Durkin, Sean and I became friends when we were 9 years old. I went to Ursuline for 4 years and coached 18 years with him. He would have thought this was funny for both of us to get in at the same time. So I miss him, and I think about him every day, and his accomplishments were amazing. Baseball, to me, I just have to say that I was blessed. I was born with size and some talent, and I had an unbelievable support system. Starting with my parents, they passed away, Jack and Joanne Metzinger, and I'm the youngest of 10 kids, so my 9 brothers and sisters are here. And I learned a lot around them. I think I made the Hall of Fame so they could sell a lot of tables, to be honest with you. That's what I was told, but I did play some baseball. And I got a lot. I want to thank all you guys for coming. It's really overwhelming. I got a lot of nephews and nieces here. I didn't know were coming, so that was awesome. I just lost my train of thought, sorry. When it comes to the baseball team, my biggest and most favorite experience was when I was at Ursuline High School, our 1988 state team. We had an embarrassment of riches, starting with our 2 coaches, Mike Popio, who's here, who would have been a head coach on any other team in the area, and Matt Giambattista, who I will say to this day, no offense to Sean Durkin or his family, that Matt was the best coach that's ever coached in this area. He was the most dedicated guy, and he's just a great person, too. But we had, on that team, we had 7 guys that went on to play college baseball, or went on to play college, and 6 of them played D1. So, and if it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be standing here now. Lastly, I want to mention my family, my wife, who I met in this building almost 25 years to the day at a wedding reception. My daughter, Sydney, Sabrina, who would have killed me if I didn't mention her, Samantha, and my son, Ryan. They've made my adult life much better than my playing days, so I appreciate it.
Ken Linden becomes just the 6th all-sports recipient, joining his brother John as the only brothers to earn the distinguished honor. Ken, a 1972 graduate of East High School, where he started in both football and baseball for the Golden Bears, earning 5 overall letters. A cornerback on the football team, suffered a broken hand early in the season and was relegated to punting duties, where he led the city series in punting his senior year. His stars shone brightest on the diamond, posting a 4-2 record with a 1.85 ERA during his senior season. In 1967, he was part of the East Side Merchant squad that won the Youngstown Pony League crown, and the 1971 team, Camel AC of the local Class B League, won the National Amateur Baseball Federation National Championship. In 1980, Ken, along with his brother John, became the first area team to win the state football championship in touch football. He was a member of 3 national championship squads, All-American honors on both offense and defense on 4 separate occasions. In 1996, after winning the state championship, they qualified for the International Police and Fire Olympics, winning the title by coming out of the loser's bracket, competing against squads from 41 states and 14 different countries. He entered the pentathlon in the Ohio Police Olympics and won the gold medal at age 36 as the all-points leader in all age brackets. In all, Ken has played with or against 44 Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame honorees. Let's welcome Ken Linden, well-deserved Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame.
Well, he used one of my lines already. First of all, I'd like to thank my Lord Jesus for this day and for this honor. I got to take these off to see. You'll figure it out. I've been blessed with an incredible wife of 40 years. We met on a football field. She has supported and encouraged me, and she's also coached on the sidelines when called upon. Growing up, my brother Johnny and I threw the baseball and football to each other every chance we got, constantly challenging each other, and I spent my life trying to catch him. Many of you out there know how tough that can be. I did, well, that was the 44 inductees. Thank you. Touch football sounds soft, but it's very violent. The only guy that gets touched is the guy with the ball. Everybody else gets blasted. Don't get me started on the onside kicks. That was crazy. No helmets, no pads, short pants. We looked like golfers. You are not allowed to hit a guy below the waist, and I weighed 150 pounds. The bigger guys had an advantage until I realized that speed at impact was a great equalizer. In the 1970s, there was a powerhouse team that had a wedge on their kick return team, and I decided to jump over it. While running at full speed, it did not go well. After being airborne for a while, I landed, and the snaps of my pants were open, and there was snot on my face. My brother Johnny came over and said to me, "They knocked the snot out of you." I'm grateful for this honor, and for the accomplishments I've had, but the greatest thing that has ever happened to me was to become a Christ follower. Jesus has brought so much joy and excitement into my life. And I would like to leave you with this little saying. I just want to be a nobody who tells everybody that there's a somebody that can save anybody. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Bob LaRicca, basketball coach. Bob was a graduate of Niles McKinley in 1964, where he was an outstanding athlete, where he played both basketball and cross country, where he was a runner. But he gains induction into the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame tonight for his success on the hardwood. His record, 296 and 103. Over 17 seasons at the helm of two programs, Warren Western Reserve and Warren Harding. He guided teams to a 46-game regular season win streak, one state title tournament appearance in 1989, 11 league championships, and in 1983, the Associated Press and UPI State Championship Wire Service unanimous #1. For his efforts in 1982, he was named Ohio Class AAA Coach of the Year. Bob LaRicca was a 12-time Mahoning Valley Coaches Association Coach of the Year. In 1992, selected to serve as the head coach of the Ohio All-Star Game, and in 1995, he was named head coach of the Ohio squad for Ohio versus Kentucky All-Star Classic. Basketball will always be in his blood. He can't get it out of his system. He continues to provide lessons for boys and girls in grades 2 through 8. Not only was he a great basketball coach, but I like to say Youngstown in the Mahoning Valley has a lot of characters. Bob LaRicca was a character on the sidelines. Very colorful, very entertaining, but most of all, very successful. And he became a good friend all those years up in Warren. Let's welcome, well-deserved, our lone basketball inductee, Bob LaRicca.
I got you.
There ain't nothing for me to say. Everything has been said that I wanted to say. Organization, good assistance, good support system, good kids, and on and on and on. Thank you, Greg Goulas. You've been thanked that many times. Tom Miller, I'm glad I don't have to hear from you anymore, because you sent me more text than my wife sent me, all right? I have a table back here that I had never had a wife while I coached. That's a good one. Now I got one, and she never saw me coach, all right? I'm thankful for her. Back that table back over there, my daughter, my son-in-law, 2 grandchildren, 2, one's engaged and the other one's waiting until he graduates. And my favorite administrator, Pat Giuliano. If you want to know anything about administration, no matter what, you go to Pat. And for you teachers out there, I'm going to give you 3 numbers. Don't ever forget, because you don't know, there's an 018 out there. I told you you wouldn't know. That's why they're keeping it secret. Just a couple other things. People ask me all the time, and I haven't coached for 25 years. I've seen these guys. I've heard of everybody. Dan Yeagley, he's on every Friday night, so you and Hannon got something going, or that other guy at 21. Okay, anyhow, how many people have thanked the school system that they taught in? I taught in Warren, Ohio, and Warren, Ohio has sometimes a bad reputation. But I got hired there in 1968 when Warren, Ohio had 63,000 people. Now they're 40, under 40. It was the greatest experience of my life. It helped my daughter grow up. My daughter went to the games, and she had a chance to see people of all types, natures, colors, religions, and it's just super. And I just looked to my right, and one of the most beautiful girls I have ever had in class just stared at me. Put your hand up, young lady. There you are. There you are. I just noticed. Anyhow, one last thing. People ask me, what's going on in basketball today? The three-point line. It is so beautiful. And everybody is allowed to shoot the three. Even the mother of the kid who's number 15 on the squad gets a chance to go in and shoot the three. Let me note to you, you all can't shoot the three. Scores are 45-44, and they're shooting threes. In 1983, Warren Western Reserve averaged 77 points a game. That's without the three-pointer. I want to thank one last group of people. The coaches I grew up under, John Lawhorn, Jack Grenells. I could stand here for 85 minutes talking about Jack Grenells. Alan Burns from Boardman. I had great assistants, but I let my assistants, and Dan, you said this, that's why I'm making this stuff up now. You have to give your assistants a job. They just don't come to practice and do what you tell them to do. They have assignments all week long. And John Lawhorn helped change that with me by talking about the organization of your assistant coaches. Well, okay, I'm number 10. I don't know what they're going to tell you. But thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bob, we love you. We're glad you didn't talk for 85 minutes about anybody, though. So I'm just having fun with you, Bob. Ken Kimmerer is our lone bowling inductee in this year's class. Ken, a 1978 graduate of Berlin Center Western Reserve High School, 1982 graduate of Youngstown State. Introduced to the sport in 1967 by his father when he joined the Wedgwood Pee Wee League, got his first trophy at age 7 for bowling high game 185. During his scholastic years, the Blue Devils do not offer bowling as a sanctioned sport. So for 4 years, he was a member of the Junior Bowling League at the Colonial Lanes in Canfield. Then it joined adult leagues and various bowling lanes located throughout the Mahoning Valley. During his undergraduate time at YSU, he won a highly coveted member of the men's club bowling team at the group that traveled to tournaments throughout Ohio. A member of the YMBA, that's the Youngstown Men's Bowling Association, for over 45 years, achieving a career high average of 221. Through his well-documented career, he's bowled and cashed in at a variety of prominent tournaments. He also has 7 300 games along with his 221 average and achieved a 3-game set of 808, doing so on 4 separate occasions. One of the great bowlers from the Mahoning Valley, welcome to the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, Ken Kimmerer.
Good afternoon, Curbstone coaches, fellow inductees, all their families and friends. I would first like to thank the Curbstone coaches for this incredible honor. It came as a huge surprise, and I'm truly grateful for this recognition. I would also like to thank my family for their support and for celebrating with me this recognition. My daughter is here with her husband, my brother and sister are here, my wife Cindy is here, and I'd like to give a special thank you, like Bob had said, to my dad for he introduced me to the sport when I was just 7 years old at Wedgwood Lanes, and he started me on this path to the sport that I loved and competed in my whole life. Tonight's surreal for me, since for the last 37 years, I have been involved in the layout and printing of the very program book you see at your tables. Over these years, I've read about and admired all the inductees to the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, especially the bowling category. Especially the bowling category, and as I have known and bowled with or against most of the bowlers that have been inducted in the past. So now I've never been really thinking that I would be able to join their ranks as a current Hall of Famer. So I am very appreciative of this award. Finally, I would like to again thank the members of the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame Committee, and I'm truly honored to be this year's bowling inductee. Thank you very much, and enjoy your evening.
I think it's always better to be on this side. You get to speak and you get to sit back. So we get all the way down to the end. We start with Jill, we end with Cheryl, 10 gentlemen in the middle, but as you can see, this has been a terrific class. Cheryl Weaver, softball coach, one of the most successful scholastic coaches in any sport in the Mahoning Valley. Her 6 state championship trophies as head coach of the champion Golden Flashes speak volumes about her skills. 1977 graduate of Southington Chalker High School, she was an all-around athlete for the Wildcats, starring in basketball and softball. Cheryl began her varsity coaching career in 1999-2000, accepted the head coaching opening at Champion High School, a position she has held now for the last 24 years. Prior to this season, her overall record, 498 and 119. One of the most respected coaches in the state. It is a model program across Ohio. Under her direction, the Golden Flashes have won 8 regional championships, also boasting 2 regional runner-ups as well. She led her team in 2004 to their first state Final Four appearance, following that up with a state runner-up finish, and the author again of 6 state championships, a 16-time Trumbull Coach of the Year. She was named the National Federation of State Coaches Coach of the Year as well for fast pitch softball. She was also a 2-time Northeast Ohio High School fast pitch softball coach, and also earning the Sportsmanship, Ethics, and Integrity Award in 2018 as well. She was inducted into the Trumbull County Sports Hall of Fame. Just an amazing career. Let's welcome Cheryl Weaver, our last inductee, Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame.
Well, Bob, you're number 10. I'm Charmin, wiping up the rear. If the shoe fits. I really want to thank the Curbstone coaches. They have been amazing to the champion high school softball teams that have won the state. Every time they won, they had them come to the banquets, and they fed them and gave them plaques. And I don't know if they really know how much they inspired those ladies, because I know they say boys eat a lot, but girls can too. They would go, Coach Weaver, if we win again, will they feed us again? Yeah, I think so. And that was part of their go get 'em. I want to really thank my husband all these years. Irv, he's been there helping me, whether it be dragging the field or just giving me pointers on how I should coach, which I appreciate. And also back there, when you mentioned when we got to state in 2004, 2006, Jacqueline Carpenter was one of my players, and now she is one of my assistant coaches, and I am blessed to have her. And also this year, I have a volunteer coach that she played for me, Brittany Allen. back on the 2015 team. So I'm hoping I can find a real good replacement here, Jacqueline. So, but I thank you so much. You wouldn't believe what all she has to do for me now that I'm a little bit older. And we also have one of my players' mothers here and booster president, and I really appreciate that. You know, you get a lot of accolades because you won state, but I want to personally say you don't get to 500 and some wins by just winning 6 state championships. To me, that number is very important because it took every single girl that I've ever coached and every team. And I want to just thank them. And you other inductees, it's an honor to be here with you. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Once again, congratulations, inductees. I need about 7 more minutes of your time. At this time, I want to call the Youngstown Parks and Rec Director, Clement Franklin, to the podium.
How you guys doing this evening? Good, good. It's great to be here. Congratulations to the inductees. You guys are true champions. I'd like to thank God. I'd like to thank my wife, Danielle Franklin. Also, I'd like to thank all the coaches that poured into my life that is here currently. I gave you guys big hugs when I came in. It was really good to see you guys. You guys brought back a lot of memories, which touched my heart. One of my biggest fans was my grandmother, Sandra Penny. She raised me since I was up from when I was 7 years old. She was one of my biggest fans when I played all the sports, baseball, track, football. She was one of my biggest fans. She really couldn't go in the stands. She was handicapped, so she couldn't really go in the stands. But she was at the touchdown with her high beams on, and the refs used to tell her to cut it off, you know. Yeah, so, you know, thanks, Grandma. You know, the one time the wide receiver dropped the ball, they tried to blame her, but, you know. Yeah, you know, one thing is sports saves lives. Sports helped save my life, as well as God. But more so boxing. Boxing helped save my life. You know, one thing is, you know, we all have fight. We all have a fight. We all are champions. You know, we have a fight through the uphill battles that are brought to you by life. Some fight mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And one thing about Youngstown and the surrounding areas, we come together and we help each other out. We got that grit. We got that support. We got that love, you know. And speaking of love, I told my uncle I wasn't even going to, I told him I was going to do it, but Kelly, my uncle, you got a #1 fan. He said he's your #1 fan. My Uncle Leroy, he's in York, Alabama. All right, he's 90 years old. He said he's your #1 fan. He said that boy is bad. He said he tell all his friends. He said that boy is bad, you know. And he told his friend over at Bingo that he would knock him out from Ohio to Alabama. So you know, just know you got a #1 fan, Kelly. And I appreciate everything, Kelly. You are very inspiring. You know, I appreciate, you know, just all the love that you gave me as well coming up. You know, again, you know, there was times where, you know, I had no out, where I can, really frustration and boxing helped turn my life, around. I didn't become a champ of the world, but I feel that I am a champ, and you all are champs as well, because we all, again, have a fight. But one thing I'm not gonna cuss today, you guys, it's Sunday, but my uncle told me, and I quote, "That's one bad mother," y'all know, so yeah, that's all, but I appreciate you. Okay, and all the inductees, congratulations again. Mr. Gene, I appreciate you. I have to say, my uncle, when you made that call, let me see, who was that? Hold on. Let's see, that was they known it as the Johnson rule. Is that, he was a Lions fan. So, I ain't gonna say he's your best fan. What was that? That was the Lions game, correct?
It was, yeah.
Okay, all right. But you know what? I tell Unc, he was being honest. He's doing his job. He said, nah, that wasn't the right call. That was a touchdown. But you know what? We appreciate you and your integrity. And you know what? Would you like to stand? Yes. You like to stand? Okay, you guys, on behalf of Jamel Tito Brown in Youngstown, the city of Youngstown, we hereby honor Gene Steratore for his many contributions to the sports of football and basketball. Gene, we would like to give you the key to the city and a proclamation. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate you. All right. This is yours. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, I promise to get you out of here in a couple of minutes. We have the crystal we want to give to Gene Steratore for being our guest speaker today. Now, you can be sure Jim Nance and Tony Romo don't have one of these. Before our final prayer, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here. Tomorrow, Youngstown State men's basketball, Nathan Faulkner will be our speaker. In 2 weeks, we got Jessica, last name? Jackson. Jackson is our speaker. In September, when we start up again, our luncheons, my telephone number will be in the newspaper. If you know someone you think is Curbstone Coaches worthy, you call me up, I'll get you out an application right away. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and I'd like to call on Pastor Watkins for the closing prayer.
What a great night. Would you agree? Let's give these inductees one more round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gene. Let's all bow together. Lord, we leave this place tonight feeling lifted because in all of the excellence and all of the accolades, there was so much intentional humility from these inductees. And they have, through their impartation, their legacy, their excellence, given us such a sense of community, of belief, of better. They've challenged us through their lives. And we thank you for them. God, we ask you to continue to bless them, give them good health, longevity, prosperity, all the days of their life. We thank you for this organization, its leadership, its donors, its sponsors. Bless these people. And every year when we come, God, we just want to say thank you for the way you've blessed the Mahoning Valley with such great athletes, coaches, administrators, and individuals that make our lives, our children, our communities better. We give you honor and glory for that. We ask you to bless us as we go home and keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen. Good night. God bless you.